this is a story that I realize I've told a lot of my friends in private that I've never told on the show. So I'm going to tell the story really quick. Uh, Most people who have only known me since I became, a public figure. This is all an act. This is not a real person. This might as well be a hologram. This is just a character that I play on TV. But before I did this, I actually, throughout my whole 20s, I opened and operated a printing company here in Columbia, Tennessee. It's called the Print Stop. I owned the Print Stop in Columbia, Tennessee. And I guess it was probably maybe 3 or 4 years into owning the business. I had a customer come in. So you want to talk about guys who can barely fit in their cars. So this guy rolls up. He's driving an old beat up red Trans Am with the little, the Firebird logo on the hood and a Roll Tide license plate on the front. Like, I mean, this is, you want to talk about memes becoming, don't let your memes be dreams. This guy right here is exactly that statement. So this guy gets out, gym shorts, gray t-shirt with holes in it, baseball cap. He's perspiring a bit, as it were. And he comes in the store and he looks, there's nothing suspicious about it. If you live where I'm from, this guy just looks like he blends into society. but he looks like there's something wrong with him, like he's nervous or something. I can't really tell what's up. I'm like, am I about to be robbed? I don't, and he comes up to the counter and he says, "Hey, do you guys do business cards?" And I'm like, well, it does say print on the name, so we do indeed do business cards. I didn't say it that way. That's probably why I'm out of business now, is that when people would come in and ask questions, I'd say, look at this fucking jack off right here. I'd say that to them, to their face, pointing at them. But anyway.
To nobody else.
Yeah, I'm the only one there. Yeah. So it says like, yeah, man, we do business cards. What have you got? And he gets out his wallet and he pulls out a card. And of course, at this point, I'm thinking, oh, he's a contractor, right? He needs more cards for his business because he's a plumber or a carpenter or something. We get a lot of those. Mm-hmm. And he hands me a card and he says, "Well, I've been a few different places. I know that not everybody will make these cards, and so it won't upset me if you can't do it, but I want to see if you can." And I didn't understand at that moment what he meant. If anything, I thought maybe he was thinking he has some sort of, like, maybe he does thermography, like the cards with the burnt ink on it, so it's raised. And we don't do that. We can order those, but we don't do those in house. And so maybe he's thinking it's something special. That's what I was thinking. And I was like, well, let's see what you got. And he hands me the card, and it's a white card, fitting, by the way. It's a white card. And it has on there a cross. So, this is a religious fella. And it says, "The Fraternal Order of White Knights." And it just has a P.O. box for Woodbury, Tennessee, P.O. box something or other. And that's when it hit me. Just because the guy's not wearing a robe and a hood.
Yeah.
And notably, it's missing 3 important letters off the card. Mm-hmm. Their official name is the Fraternal Order of White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. It turns out for their official correspondence, they leave that last part out. Oh. So it didn't say KKK on it. It just said the Fraternal Order of White Knights with the logo, and that was it. And there's nothing else on it, just blank otherwise. Just left good and white like God intended. And at the bottom, it has Woodbury, Tennessee, which for people that are not from Woodbury, Tennessee, that's out there in the sticks. That's out there. So it actually surprises me not at all that that's where they're hiding their P.O. box. And of course, and also too, it's like now I think about it more. I realize now, well, they have a P.O. box so that they won't have an address, so that they won't get,
visited.
Yeah. And this guy proceeds to tell me that he's actually doing the bidding for the guy. Like, what do they call them? Like grand wizards or whatever.
Dragon? Is it dragon or wizard? Yeah.
Some type of sorcerer, elvish fellow. And And so that guy doesn't go out and get stuff. I guess it's like that's super, he's high up and that's super secretive,
Yeah.
Dave, when you make it to be Grand Wizard of the KKK, you don't have to go run your errands anymore. All right, they're gonna go do that for you. This is something to look forward to.
And the dreams are behind me.
Yeah. Yeah, when you and Mary had COVID, you wouldn't have had to order anything. They would have just brought you your groceries because we take care of our own. Am I right? So anyway, it dawns on me now what this is. And I'm like, oh, wow. I mean, when you're just in the midst of your day-to-day routine, you don't expect to be confronted with such a thing. And so anyway, I actually told him, you know what? If you can leave this with me, because he didn't have the files. God knows I'm in printing and they can't bring me the files, so I have to recreate everything. Like, if you can leave this with me, I'm going to talk this over with my partner, and we'll get back to you. Can I keep this one? And he was like, yeah, sure. And I asked him a few questions. So like, while you're here, do you mind? Like, you seem like a nice guy. You seem like a nice guy. So can I ask you, can I ask you some questions? Like, would that bother you? And he's like, no, ask me. And I was like, so what do you guys do? Like, what do you do in your little social club there? And he immediately said, oh, well, we don't do what you're thinking. Like, we don't burn crosses on people's yards. And he actually said that they had a few black people in their club.
Huh. Which,
again, if you've actually lived any amount of time in the South, that won't surprise you as much as it might surprise other people. It's an interesting dynamic. But they were really a lot more like, kind of like the Masons or something, where they have a lodge and they go out to the lodge and they play pool and drink beer and watch football. And he said they even have their black friends come out and play pool and drink beer and watch football. And then I was like, oh, well, that sounds great and all, but if that's true, then why bother calling it the KKK? Why not just be, Dave and Alan's hangout shack? Like, why does it have to be the KKK? And he didn't really have an answer for that. He's just like, well, it's just, the guy, and it's his club, And I was like, well, all right. So we took the card. We thought about it. I talked to my partner about it, and I was like, should we make these? Like, I understand that obviously everywhere this guy has been to, they turned him down. And I know why. Like, it's not a mystery why Office Max was like, I don't think we can do racist propaganda, Mr. whatever. And then I was like, you know what? Ironically enough, when he was there, one of my old lady friends, who happened to be a black lady, had been there visiting me. And he opened the door for her. He opens the door and says, yes, ma'am, you're welcome, And I was like, this guy has not ever done anything to me. And he claims they've never done anything to anybody. And he's only ever been respectful and nice. He was even respectful and nice to my lady friend, who was a black woman. And so I made his business cards. And they paid for them. And then I never saw him again.
That's interesting. I don't know. Yeah. To be thrown in that situation, I don't know exactly what I'd do, especially to a nice person. I've been known to make bad decisions.
The last thing I said to my old partner before we decided to do it is that, well, look at it this way. If they're perfectly reasonable people who wouldn't harm a soul, then there's no reason to be bothered about doing their business cards. And if they are the type of people who would invest their time and money into doing things that you and I wouldn't approve of, then we should take their money away from them so they can't spend it on anything else, like burning crosses. So we charged, I will admit this, we basically charged double.
Wow.
Like, I quote everything, but I would have quoted you like $40. And I was like, yeah, those are $80 because, I got to recreate your fancy schmancy, Catholic cross thing. It's with that old Gothic font.
Yeah.
I mean, they got some class over there in the KKK. So, who does their linens? You wonder.
I like.
But anyway,
they did a little rebranding, getting rid of the letters at the end there.
They did do rebrand. That's why they came to the print stop, is they needed someone to do rebrand. And I did it, and I took their money, and I've always wondered what happened to that guy, because that guy was just the go-between.
Mm-hmm.
He was the guy who was in it for the beer and the pool. I always wonder what happened to that guy. Guy, if you're watching this show, comment down in the comments to say, I actually married a black woman and we have 3 children.